A plane that never lands. Every generation has its poison. For some, it was drugs. For others, it was the lottery or slot machines hidden in smoky bars. But for this generation, the generation raised with phones in their pockets and dopamine on demand, the poison doesn't come in a bottle or a rolled-up bill. It comes in the form of a little red plane, a plane that takes off endlessly, a plane that promises freedom, money, and adrenaline. A plane called Aviator. It looks innocent enough, a cartoon flight rising into the digital sky. The longer it flies, the more money you make. Cash out at the right moment, and you win. Wait too long, and the plane crashes, you lose it all. Simple, addictive, deadly. What started as a niche online game has now become one of the fastest-growing betting phenomena in the world, hooking millions of young people from Lagos to London, from Nairobi to New Delhi. And just like every other gambling empire in history, it hides a darkness that its creators don't want you to see. This is not just a game. This is a global trap disguised as fun.
Chapter 1: The Spark in the Sky. Aviator was born in 2019, created by Spribe, a software development company in Ukraine. Spribe wasn't just trying to make another slot machine or roulette wheel. They wanted something new, something viral, something that could slip past the defenses of people who thought gambling was old-fashioned. The result was what they called a crash game. Crash games aren't new in the underground world of crypto betting. They started in Bitcoin forums, where shady sites let players bet on numbers climbing until they crashed. Spribe took that raw idea, polished it, gamified it, and sold it to online casinos worldwide. But Aviator had something that set it apart. Minimalist design. No flashy slot reels, no complex cards, just a simple red plane. Real-time interaction. Multiple players watch the same plane, betting together, creating a fake sense of community. The illusion of skill. Unlike slots, Aviator makes you believe you have control over when to cash out. Within months, Aviator was integrated into hundreds of online casinos and sports betting apps. By 2021, it wasn't just another gambling option, it was the flagship attraction. And it spread like wildfire across Africa, Asia, and Eastern Europe, places where smartphone penetration was high, regulation was weak, and poverty made quick money a fantasy that too many were willing to chase. But here's the truth. Aviator wasn't a game. It was a mathematical trap, disguised as entertainment.
Chapter 2: The Flight Path. At first glance, Aviator seems laughably simple. A red plane takes off. A multiplier number starts rising. 1.1x, 1.5x, 2x, 5x, 50x. The higher it goes, the more money your bet is worth. But at some random point, the plane crashes. If you cashed out before the crash, you keep your winnings. If not, you lose it all. Sounds fair, right? A little risk, a little reward. But under the hood, Aviator is designed to exploit the weaknesses of the human brain. First, the algorithm. Spribe claims Aviator uses a provably fair system with random number generation. But here's the catch. Random doesn't mean equal. The vast majority of flights crash early, at multipliers between 1.0x and 2.0x. Big multipliers, 50x, 100x, even 500x, are statistically rare, designed to appear just often enough to keep players hooked. Second, the illusion of control. Players believe they can predict when to cash out by watching patterns. In reality, every round is independent, every crash predetermined by code. There are no patterns. The house always wins. Third, the community bait. On most platforms, Aviator shows a live leaderboard of other players cashing out. You see hundreds of usernames, their wins, their losses. This creates social pressure. If everyone else is cashing out at 1.5x, maybe you should too. If someone wins at 50x, you feel like you missed out. It's not just a game, it's psychological warfare. Every sound effect, every rising multiplier, every fake username in the chat is designed to create FOMO, fear of missing out. And FOMO is the fuel that keeps the plane in the sky.
Chapter 3: The Illusion of Control. Gambling has always thrived on one illusion: the belief that you can beat the system. Slot machines spin reels with flashing colors, convincing players that near misses mean they're close to winning. Poker convinces you it's about skill, even though the house still takes its cut. But Aviator? Aviator is more dangerous. Why? Because it blends simplicity with psychology in a way no slot machine ever could. When that little red plane rises, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical that fires when you take a hit of nicotine, or when your phone buzzes with a notification. Each multiplier increase is like a heartbeat, a pulse, urging you to stay in the game. But the deadliest trick isn't the dopamine, it's the illusion of control. Players believe that by studying patterns, when the plane crashed last round, how high it went, or how long the streak of low multipliers lasted, they can predict the next outcome. It feels logical, but it's not. In reality, every flight is independent, decided by hidden algorithms before the plane even takes off. The streaks are a mirage, the patterns meaningless. But your brain, wired to find order in chaos, convinces you that you're one step away from mastering the game. This is the same psychological trap that fuels slot machines and lotteries, but in Aviator, it's intensified by speed. Each round lasts only seconds. Crash, restart. Crash, restart. Win a little, lose a lot. Try again. The pace keeps players locked in a trance, barely able to process their losses before they're sucked into the next round. And that's exactly how it's designed. Because Aviator isn't about fun. It's about keeping you flying just long enough to burn everything you have.
Chapter 4: Lives in Freefall. For many, Aviator starts as a joke, a curiosity. A friend says, "Try this game. You can double your money in seconds." They download the app, place a $5 bet, and win $15. Suddenly, they're hooked. But behind the memes and viral TikToks lies a trail of broken lives. Consider the story of a 22-year-old university student in Nigeria. He started playing Aviator during the COVID lockdowns. At first, it was pocket change, harmless fun, but soon he was chasing bigger multipliers. One night, after losing his entire semester's tuition fees in less than an hour, he borrowed money from friends. Within weeks, he was deep in debt, skipping classes, lying to his family. By the time his parents found out, he had dropped out of school entirely. Or take the 19-year-old in Kenya, who took his father's savings meant for farming supplies and gambled it all on Aviator. He believed he could make it back before his father noticed. Instead, he lost everything in 20 minutes. His family didn't just lose money, they lost their livelihood for the entire season. And then there are the darker stories. In 2023, media outlets in India reported a string of suicides linked to Aviator and similar crash games. Young men trapped in debt and shame saw no way out. The digital plane didn't just crash their money, it crashed their lives. These aren't isolated incidents. Across forums, TikTok confessions, and local news reports, the same pattern repeats. A small win, a bigger loss, a spiral of debt, lies, and desperation. The tragedy of Aviator is that it doesn't look dangerous. It's not like heroin or alcohol where the risks are obvious.
Aviator hides its destruction behind a cartoon plane, masking addiction as entertainment. But the victims are real, the losses are real, and the companies profiting from those losses, they know exactly what they're doing.
Chapter 5. Casinos in your pocket. To understand Aviator, you need to understand the ecosystem it lives in. Aviator is not just a game, it's a business model. Spribe, the Ukrainian company that created Aviator, licenses it to online casinos and sports betting apps. These platforms, in turn, integrate Aviator as one of their star attractions. Why? Because Aviator has something that slot machines and roulette can't match: speed and virality. Traditional casino games move slowly. A round of poker can take minutes. A spin of roulette is over in 30 seconds. Aviator, you can burn through 50 rounds in just a few minutes. That means 50 chances for the house to take your money. But here's the genius and the evil behind Aviator. It was built for the smartphone generation. It works perfectly on mobile. It's lightweight, runs on cheap internet, it's fast, colorful, and social. For betting platforms in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, Aviator became the perfect weapon to hook young players, especially those who never stepped foot in a physical casino. And the profits are staggering. Every time you place a bet, the platform takes its cut. Every second the plane is in the air, someone somewhere is losing money. Multiply that by millions of players worldwide, and you start to see why Aviator spread so fast. But the biggest trick? Marketing. Betting companies push Aviator hard because it's addictive. They plaster it across banners, apps, and promotions. Many even hand out free spins or bonus credits to lure new players in. That first free flight often leads to a crash landing into addiction. And here's the chilling part. Most of these platforms operate in legal gray zones. In many countries, online gambling laws are weak, outdated, or unenforced. This means Aviator and games like it can target vulnerable populations with almost no oversight. Casinos used to be distant, hidden behind neon lights in Vegas or Monte Carlo. Now they're in your pocket, disguised as a game, whispering, "One more bet, one more flight."
Chapter 6. Influencers and Enablers. If Aviator spread like wildfire, it wasn't just because of clever coding or addictive mechanics. It was because of influence. Open TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube Shorts, and you'll find them. Smiling young men in flashy clothes, sitting in cars they don't own, holding cash they didn't win, and telling you how Aviator changed their life. They'll say things like, "I turned $10 into $500 in minutes. This game is the secret the casinos don't want you to know. And DM me for my winning strategy." But what they don't tell you is the truth. Most of these influencers are paid. Betting platforms recruit them to glamorize Aviator, to make it look less like gambling and more like an opportunity. Some are given promo codes, earning commissions every time a new player signs up and loses money. Others fake wins using demo accounts, editing clips to show impossible streaks. And the effect is devastating. Teenagers scrolling endlessly through their feeds see these fake wins and believe Aviator is a shortcut out of poverty. They dream of paying off debts, helping their families, or buying luxury goods. Instead, they walk straight into a trap. The influencers know this, the platforms know this, but they don't care. Because for every new player, every new download, every new desperate bet, someone on the other side is counting profits. And the cycle continues.
Chapter 7. The Hidden Crash. As if Aviator itself wasn't dangerous enough, there's another layer, a scam within the scam. Across Telegram groups, Instagram DMs, and shady websites, you'll find people selling what they call Aviator prediction software. They promise you access to hacks that can predict when the plane will crash. They'll show fake screenshots of streaks, charts, or algorithms. Some even claim to have cracked the game's code. But here's the truth. There is no hack. Aviator's outcomes are locked behind encrypted servers. No outsider can predict the exact crash point. These so-called prediction tools are nothing more than scams targeting people already addicted, already desperate. First, Aviator takes their money. Then the scammers swoop in to take whatever's left. And in some cases, it's even worse. Some apps marketed as Aviator hacks are actually malware, stealing banking details, contacts, and personal data. So the victims of Aviator don't just lose their money on the game, they risk losing everything else too. The cruelest irony? Many of these scams are advertised by the same influencers promoting Aviator in the first place. It's a double play of exploitation. Lure you in with promises of quick riches, then bleed you dry with false solutions. And all of it thrives in the shadows of weak regulation, in markets where oversight is minimal and desperation is high.
Chapter 8. Final Descent. Every generation has its poison. For some, it was heroin. For others, crack cocaine. For ours, it might just be digital gambling dressed as a game. Aviator is not just a harmless app. It is not just entertainment. It is a machine built to exploit human psychology, to extract wealth from the most vulnerable, and to leave behind wreckage that no one sees until it's too late. It doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't care about your family. It doesn't care about the young man in Lagos who lost his tuition, the farmer in Nairobi who lost his savings, or the teenager in Mumbai who lost his life. It only cares about one thing: keeping you on board until you crash. And maybe that's the most dangerous part of all. Aviator doesn't look like a villain. It doesn't look like the mafia-run casinos of the 1970s or the smoky backrooms of illegal gambling dens. It looks like a little red plane, climbing higher and higher, with a cheerful soundtrack. But behind that cartoon plane is an industry that thrives on despair. So the next time someone tells you about Aviator, remember this: the game is not about flying, it's about falling. And in the end, the only one who ever wins is the house. Every crash leaves scars. Not on the game, not on the company, but on the people who believed they could outfly the inevitable. Aviator is not entertainment. It is exploitation in disguise. And unless we see it for what it is, the crash will never end.